Most men think money is about numbers, income, expenses, savings, investments. But when a man truly gets serious about money, something deeper begins to shift. His thinking changes before his bank account does. His patience increases. His tolerance for distraction decreases. He starts seeing time, effort, and energy as currencies that must be protected. This shift is rarely loud. There is no dramatic announcement. It happens quietly, often after disappointment, pressure, or the realization that survival thinking is no longer enough. When a man gets serious about money, he stops asking how to earn fast and starts asking how to build correctly. He becomes less reactive and more deliberate. Impulse spending loses its appeal because every unnecessary expense now feels like future theft. He begins to understand that money is not just a tool for comfort, but a reflection of discipline, foresight, and self-respect. This seriousness affects more than finances. It changes how he works, how he chooses opportunities, and how he responds to risk. He becomes selective. He no longer chases every option or explanation. He understands that consistency outperforms urgency and that stability is built, not wished into existence. When money becomes serious, excuses become expensive. He stops blaming circumstances and starts auditing decisions. He sees patterns clearly, where he leaks energy, where he avoids responsibility, where he trades long-term security for short-term relief. This awareness can be uncomfortable, but it is also empowering, because once the truth is visible, control returns. This book is not about getting rich quickly or mastering complicated systems. It is about the internal shift that happens when a man decides that financial chaos is no longer acceptable. When that decision is made sincerely, money stops being a source of stress and starts becoming a measure of alignment. And once alignment begins, progress follows, quietly, steadily, and without needing permission.
Chapter 1. The Shift in Mindset, from Survival to Strategy. For most of his life, a man treats money as something to react to. Bills arrive, expenses appear, income comes and goes. The goal is survival, not control. As long as he can keep things afloat, he convinces himself that everything is fine. But the moment a man gets serious about money, that survival mindset begins to crack. He realizes that reacting is expensive. It keeps him anxious, distracted, and dependent on circumstances he does not control. This realization marks the beginning of strategy. Strategy means thinking ahead instead of scrambling. It means understanding that every financial decision has a future attached to it, whether acknowledged or ignored. A man who shifts into strategy stops asking how to fix today and starts asking how today affects tomorrow. This changes behavior immediately. He becomes less impulsive because impulse belongs to urgency. Strategy belongs to patience. He starts measuring risk more carefully, not out of fear, but out of respect for consequences. The survival mindset seeks relief. Strategy seeks stability. Relief feels good in the moment, but it always returns with interest. Stability feels slow at first, but it compounds quietly. When a man adopts a strategic approach to money, he stops pretending small decisions do not matter. He sees how habits shape outcomes. Where survival thinking justifies shortcuts, strategy exposes their cost. This shift also affects identity. He no longer sees himself as someone hoping things work out. He sees himself as someone responsible for making them work. Responsibility replaces blame. Awareness replaces denial. This is not about perfection or control over every variable. It is about direction. A strategic man understands that he cannot predict everything, but he can position himself better. Once this shift occurs, money stops feeling chaotic. It becomes structured. and structure is the foundation upon which financial confidence is built.
Hope feels productive, but it is passive. For years, many men hope things improve financially. They hope income increases, expenses stabilize, or opportunities appear. Hope allows comfort without responsibility. When a man gets serious about money, hope quietly steps aside and discipline takes its place. Discipline does not wait for conditions to improve. It operates regardless of mood, confidence, or external reassurance. This is where real change begins. Discipline introduces structure where there was randomness. Spending becomes intentional rather than emotional. Saving becomes non-negotiable rather than optional. Work becomes consistent rather than reactive. These changes are not dramatic, but they are decisive. A disciplined approach to money removes negotiation from daily choices. When rules are clear, willpower is no longer required. This reduces mental fatigue and increases follow-through. Discipline also forces honesty. Numbers do not respond to excuses, they respond to action. When a man tracks where his money goes, he confronts reality without interpretation. This confrontation can be uncomfortable, but it is also grounding. It replaces vague anxiety with clear information. Clarity restores control. As discipline strengthens, confidence follows. This confidence is not loud or reckless, it is calm. A man who knows he is acting in alignment with his financial standards does not need to impress or rush. He becomes patient. He understands that progress built slowly is more reliable than progress built emotionally. Discipline also reshapes time perspective. Short-term pleasure loses its dominance. Long-term security gains weight. This does not mean denying enjoyment. It means choosing enjoyment that does not sabotage the future. When discipline replaces hope, money stops being something he wishes would behave differently. It becomes something he manages deliberately. This shift reduces stress, increases self-respect, and creates momentum. Over time, discipline compounds into stability. Stability compounds into options, and options change how a man moves through the world.
Chapter 2. Awareness and Control. Seeing where money actually goes. The moment a man gets serious about money, he stops guessing and starts looking. Awareness replaces assumption. Many financial problems persist not because income is too low, but because spending is invisible. Money leaves quietly through habits that feel insignificant in isolation. Subscriptions forgotten, convenience purchases justified, small indulgences repeated. When these patterns are unseen, they feel harmless. When they are visible, their weight becomes undeniable. Seriousness begins with tracking, not to punish, but to understand. Seeing where money actually goes creates an honest map of behavior. That map often reveals contradictions. A man may say security matters, yet his spending reflects comfort-seeking. He may claim discipline, yet his habits show avoidance. This awareness can be uncomfortable, but discomfort is informative. It highlights misalignment. Control cannot exist without clarity. Once spending is visible, choice returns. Instead of reacting to shortages, a man can decide what stays and what goes. This decision-making is empowering. It shifts the relationship with money from emotional to deliberate. Awareness also reduces anxiety. Vague worry is replaced by specific information. Specific information can be acted on. Control grows not from restriction, but from understanding. When a man knows his numbers, he stops being surprised. Surprises are expensive. Predictability builds calm. This awareness extends beyond spending. It includes time, energy, and attention. Money often leaks where focus is weak. A serious man begins to see that financial behavior mirrors broader habits. Avoidance, impulsivity, and distraction show up everywhere. Addressing them in money strengthens them everywhere else. Awareness is not a one-time event, it is a practice. Regular review keeps behavior aligned with intention. Over time, this habit builds confidence because it proves self-honesty. A man who sees clearly can adjust early. He no longer waits for consequences to force change. By choosing awareness, he regains control, and control is the foundation upon which every stable financial system is built.
Control over money does not arrive as a feeling, it arrives as a system. Many men wait to feel confident before acting responsibly, but confidence is a result, not a prerequisite. When a man gets serious about money, he learns to operate without emotional reassurance. He builds control through repetition, structure, and follow-through. This means setting rules and honoring them, even when motivation is low. It means acting correctly before it feels comfortable. Control grows quietly when actions become predictable. Income is allocated with intention. Expenses are reviewed regularly. Savings are treated as obligations rather than leftovers. None of this feels exciting at first. In fact, it often feels restrictive. But over time, restriction reveals its purpose. It creates space. Space for planning, space for opportunity, space for calm. Emotional spending loses its grip because it no longer fits the structure. Impulses still appear, but they no longer decide outcomes. Control also requires delayed response. Instead of reacting immediately to financial stress or desire, a serious man pauses. He evaluates. He considers impact. This pause interrupts old patterns. It replaces urgency with clarity. Over time, this delay becomes automatic. Control stops being effortful and starts being habitual. Another element of control is forgiveness without indulgence. Mistakes happen, overspending occurs, unexpected costs arise. Control is not destroyed by these events, it is destroyed by abandoning standards afterward. A serious man corrects quickly, without self-punishment. He returns to structure instead of spiraling into avoidance. This resilience matters more than perfection. Control also changes how risk is approached. Risks are measured, not emotional. Decisions are based on position rather than desire. This reduces regret and increases learning. As control strengthens, stress decreases, not because money problems vanish instantly, but because direction is clear. When direction is clear, anxiety has less room to operate. Control is not something you feel one day, it is something you build daily. And once built, it changes how you move, decide, and carry yourself in every area of life.
Chapter 3. Income with intention. Earning becomes strategic. When a man gets serious about money, earning stops being accidental. He no longer relies solely on effort or hope that hard work will be noticed. He begins to think in terms of leverage. Time is finite. Energy is limited. Strategy determines whether effort multiplies or exhausts him. This is the moment earning becomes intentional rather than reactive. A strategic approach to income starts with understanding value. A serious man asks what problems he can solve and for whom. He looks at skills not as tasks, but as assets that can grow, compound, and travel across opportunities. Instead of chasing every option, he focuses on developing competence that increases his positioning over time. This focus creates momentum. Income strategy also changes how he views work. He stops equating busyness with progress. Long hours without direction are replaced by targeted effort with measurable outcomes. He becomes selective about where he invests his time because he understands that low-leverage work consumes life without building security. This selectivity is not arrogance, it is efficiency. A man serious about money also studies systems. He observes how money moves through industries, roles, and markets. He notices where demand is stable and where it is fragile. He positions himself closer to decision-making, ownership, or scalability when possible. Even within constrained circumstances, he looks for angles that increase upside without increasing risk unnecessarily. Strategic earning also requires patience. Skill development, reputation, and trust take time. Early stages often feel slow and unrewarding. Many quit here. The serious man persists because he understands trajectory. He is not chasing immediate validation. He is building earning power that lasts. As earning becomes strategic, stress decreases. Not because income instantly explodes, but because direction is clear. Clear direction transforms effort into investment. Over time, this shift separates those who remain stuck, trading time for survival, from those who build income that reflects intention rather than urgency.
Earning more money does not automatically create stability. Many men increase income only to discover that stress follows them upward. This happens because growth without protection leaks. When a man gets serious about money, he understands that earning is only the first phase. What matters just as much is how income is protected, directed, and allowed to grow over time. Protection begins with restraint. Lifestyle expansion is one of the fastest ways to erase progress. As income rises, pressure to display success rises with it. A serious man resists this pressure. He understands that visible upgrades often delay invisible security. Instead of inflating his lifestyle immediately, he builds margin. Margin absorbs shocks, creates flexibility, and reduces dependence on constant earning. Growth also requires intention. Money without direction drifts toward convenience and consumption. A serious man assigns purpose to his income. Savings are automated. Obligations are prioritized. Surplus is deployed deliberately rather than left vulnerable to impulse. This structure prevents backsliding during emotional or uncertain periods. Protecting income also means reducing exposure to unnecessary risk. Not all risk is bad, but unmanaged risk is expensive. A man serious about money distinguishes between calculated risk and emotional gambling. He avoids decisions driven by urgency, comparison, or fear of missing out. Instead, he favors consistency and probability. Growth over time rewards patience more reliably than boldness without foundation. Another critical element is education. Financial ignorance carries interest. Understanding basic principles of saving, investing, taxation, and debt changes outcomes dramatically. A serious man does not outsource all thinking. He learns enough to ask good questions and recognize poor advice. This protects him from being led by confidence rather than competence. As protection and growth align, money begins to feel supportive rather than stressful. It stops slipping through cracks and starts accumulating quietly. This accumulation does not change identity overnight, but it changes posture. A man moves differently when he knows progress is compounding. Protecting and growing what you earn is not glamorous, but it is decisive. It turns effort into permanence and income into foundation.
Chapter 4. Risk, Responsibility, and Restraint. Learning to say no to fast money. When a man gets serious about money, his relationship with opportunity changes. He becomes cautious, not because he is fearful, but because he understands cost. Fast money often arrives dressed as freedom, urgency, or rare chance. It promises shortcuts without showing consequences. A serious man learns to recognize this pattern early. He understands that speed amplifies mistakes just as easily as it amplifies gains. Saying no to fast money is not about conservatism, it is about restraint. Restraint protects position. Many financial setbacks come not from lack of opportunity, but from accepting the wrong ones. Offers that feel too good to miss often demand hidden trade-offs. Time, reputation, focus, or peace of mind are exchanged quietly. A man serious about money evaluates opportunity through alignment rather than excitement. He asks whether it fits his strategy, risk tolerance, and long-term direction. If it does not, he declines without apology. Responsibility also changes how risk is approached. Risk is no longer thrilling, it is measured. A serious man understands that risk should be taken from strength, not desperation. When pressure is high, judgment narrows. Fast money appeals most when security is weakest. Recognizing this timing prevents self-sabotage. He avoids making major financial decisions from emotional states like fear, impatience, or comparison. Another shift occurs in how restraint is perceived. What once felt like missing out now feels like protection. Each declined shortcut reinforces self-trust. Confidence grows, not from boldness, but from consistency. Over time, this discipline filters opportunities naturally. Fewer offers appear, but the ones that remain are higher quality. Saying no also preserves focus. Fast money distracts from building systems that last. It pulls attention toward reaction rather than construction. By refusing distraction, a man creates space for compounding efforts to mature. In the long run, restraint outperforms urgency. While others chase bursts of income and absorb repeated setbacks, the serious man builds steadily. He may move slower, but he moves forward without collapse. Learning to say no to fast money is not about limiting ambition. It is about protecting the future from decisions that feel good today but cost far more tomorrow.
When a man truly accepts responsibility for his financial outcomes, risk stops being abstract. It becomes personal. Responsibility removes the illusion that someone else will absorb the consequences if things go wrong. This awareness sharpens judgment. A serious man no longer treats risk as a game or a test of confidence. He treats it as a weight that must be carried if the outcome turns against him. This does not make him timid, it makes him precise. Responsibility changes the questions he asks. Instead of asking how much he could gain, he asks what he could lose and whether that loss would compromise stability. He considers second and third order effects rather than focusing on immediate payoff. This perspective filters reckless decisions automatically. Risk is no longer evaluated in isolation. It is evaluated in context of obligations, dependence, and long-term positioning. Another shift occurs in preparation. Responsible risk demands buffers. Emergency reserves, diversified income, and contingency plans are no longer optional, they are prerequisites. A man serious about money does not rely on optimism to protect him. He relies on structure. This structure allows him to take calculated risks without exposing himself to collapse. Responsibility also changes emotional response. Wins are met with restraint. Losses are met with ownership rather than blame. This emotional stability prevents overcorrection. He does not double down impulsively after success or panic after failure. Each outcome is integrated calmly into strategy. This steadiness compounds. Over time, others begin to notice that he survives volatility without drama. While many swing between extremes, he remains composed. Responsibility also alters time horizon. Short-term gains lose importance when long-term security is at stake. Decisions become slower, but accuracy improves. Fewer mistakes are made, and those that occur are smaller and more manageable. Carrying responsibility well does not eliminate risk, it refines it. It ensures that risk serves progress instead of threatening it. When responsibility guides financial behavior, restraint becomes natural, strategy becomes sharper, and risk transforms from a gamble into a tool used deliberately rather than emotionally.
Chapter 5. Stability Before Expansion. Why stability comes first. When a man gets serious about money, he stops chasing growth before securing stability. Many financial struggles come from expanding too early. Bigger expenses, bigger risks, and bigger commitments are taken on without a foundation strong enough to support them. Stability is not glamorous, but it is protective. It absorbs mistakes, delays, and unexpected pressure without collapsing progress. A serious man understands that stability buys time, and time is one of the most valuable financial assets. Stability begins with predictability. Income streams are understood. Core expenses are covered reliably. Emergency reserves exist not as an idea, but as reality. This predictability reduces anxiety and improves decision quality. When survival is no longer in question, thinking expands. Creativity returns. Patience increases. Decisions stop being driven by urgency. Many men underestimate how much mental energy is consumed by instability. When finances are chaotic, attention fragments. Long-term planning feels impossible. Stability restores focus. It creates the mental space required for intelligent growth. This is why expansion without stability often leads to burnout or reversal. Growth built on weak foundations magnifies stress instead of opportunity. Stability also changes confidence. It replaces performative confidence with grounded assurance. A man who knows he can handle disruptions does not rush to prove anything. He can wait. He can decline. He can hold position while others overextend. This restraint preserves leverage. Another benefit of stability is optionality. When your base is secure, opportunities become choices rather than lifelines. You are no longer forced to accept unfavorable terms or excessive risk. You can evaluate offers calmly and negotiate from strength. Stability does not mean stagnation, it means readiness. It ensures that when expansion occurs, it is sustainable. Serious men do not confuse movement with progress. They build a base first, then they grow deliberately. This sequence matters. Without it, expansion becomes fragile. With it, growth compounds with less stress and fewer setbacks. Stability is not the end goal, but it is the condition that makes every next step possible.
Once stability is established, expansion becomes possible without self-sabotage. The mistake many men make is treating growth as an emotional reward rather than a strategic phase. Expansion pursued too quickly exposes weak systems. Expansion pursued deliberately strengthens them. A man serious about money understands that growth should increase capacity, not fragility. Expansion begins by testing limits gradually. New investments, higher expenses, or additional responsibilities are added in controlled increments. This allows systems to adjust. Cash flow is monitored. Stress points are identified early. Small corrections prevent large failures. This measured approach keeps growth from overwhelming stability. Another key principle is preserving margin. As opportunities increase, temptation to maximize appears. Every dollar is assigned, every moment is booked, margin disappears. A serious man resists this. He leaves room for error, rest, and uncertainty. Margin protects judgment. Without it, expansion turns into pressure, and pressure degrades decision quality. Expansion also requires delegation and systems. Trying to manage everything personally caps growth and increases burnout. A man who expands wisely looks for processes that reduce dependence on constant effort. Automation, simplification, and prioritization replace chaos. This allows growth without exhaustion. Responsibility increases with expansion. More income, assets, or influence means more impact from mistakes. A serious man does not ignore this. He strengthens discipline as growth increases. Standards rise alongside opportunity. This prevents regression into impulsive behavior under higher stakes. Expansion without collapse also demands patience. Not every opportunity must be taken immediately. Timing matters. Waiting allows leverage to build and information to accumulate. Rushed expansion often sacrifices position for speed. Strategic expansion preserves both. When stability leads and expansion follows, money stops being volatile. Progress becomes smoother. Stress decreases even as scale increases. This is the mark of financial maturity. Growth no longer feels like gambling. It feels controlled. A man who expands this way does not fear success because he has built the structure to carry it.
Chapter 6. Power, Peace, and Position. Money changes how a man carries himself. When a man gets serious about money, the first visible change is not wealth, it is posture. Financial clarity alters how he carries himself long before numbers reflect progress. His movements slow. His reactions soften. He no longer rushes to explain, impress, or justify. This is not arrogance, it is groundedness. Knowing where you stand financially reduces internal noise. That quiet translates outward. A man with control over his money speaks differently because he is not negotiating with fear. He listens more because urgency no longer dominates his attention. He makes eye contact without needing approval. These subtle shifts influence how others respond to him. Money does not create confidence, alignment does. When actions match standards and direction is clear, self-trust forms. That trust shows in body language and tone. Another change occurs in boundaries. A serious man becomes comfortable saying no without resentment. He is not compelled to overextend financially or socially to maintain status. His choices reflect position rather than insecurity. This restraint preserves energy and respect. Over time, people sense consistency. They may not know why, but they respond to it. Peace also increases. Financial seriousness reduces background anxiety that many men accept as normal. When obligations are covered and direction is defined, mental space opens. This peace is not passive, it sharpens focus. Decisions are made from clarity instead of panic. Pressure is handled without collapse. Position improves as a result. Opportunities arrive differently when you are not desperate. Terms improve when you can walk away. Influence grows when you do not chase validation. Money does not create power. It removes the weaknesses that kept him reactive. When financial discipline is established, presence changes. He becomes steady. That steadiness becomes leverage in conversations, negotiations, and life. This is the quiet power of financial seriousness. It does not announce itself. It is felt.
The greatest return a man receives from taking money seriously is not status or comfort. It is peace. Peace comes from knowing that today's problems will not become tomorrow's crises. It comes from preparation replacing panic. When finances are aligned, the mind is no longer occupied by constant background stress. That mental space is the real dividend of discipline. Many men underestimate how much anxiety they carry simply because money is unmanaged. Even when income is sufficient, uncertainty creates tension. Bills are paid, but direction is unclear. Progress feels fragile. When a man establishes control, that fragility disappears. He knows where he stands. He knows what is covered. He knows what he is building toward. This certainty calms the nervous system.
Peace also improves decision-making. When survival is no longer the dominant concern, choices expand. You are no longer forced into short-term thinking. You can wait, you can evaluate, you can choose alignment over urgency. This changes outcomes dramatically. The same opportunity looks different when desperation is removed. Peace strengthens relationships as well. Financial stress often leaks into interactions through irritability, avoidance, or resentment. When money is no longer a constant worry, presence improves. Conversations become more attentive, boundaries become clearer, respect grows naturally. Another overlooked aspect of peace is dignity. A man who is financially serious does not need to compromise values for relief. He is not cornered into decisions that erode self-respect. This dignity reinforces confidence quietly. Peace does not mean complacency, it means stability. It allows ambition to operate without self-sabotage. Growth pursued from peace is sustainable. Growth pursued from anxiety is exhausting. When peace becomes the foundation, money stops being a source of tension and becomes a support system. This is why serious men protect stability fiercely. They understand that peace is not a luxury, it is the condition that makes everything else function better. In the end, peace is what remains when discipline has done its work. It is the clearest signal that a man is no longer fighting his finances, but directing them.
Chapter 7. Legacy and Long-Term Thinking. Money starts to mean something bigger. When a man reaches a certain level of financial seriousness, money stops being only about comfort or security. It begins to represent responsibility beyond the present moment. He starts thinking in terms of impact, continuity, and legacy. This shift does not require extreme wealth. It requires perspective. Once immediate survival and stability are handled, the question changes from "how do I get by?" to "what does this build?" Money becomes a tool for shaping the future rather than reacting to the present. This change alters motivation. Short-term indulgence loses relevance when long-term consequences are visible. A serious man begins to consider how his financial decisions affect his family, his reputation, and the opportunities available to those who depend on him. He understands that money carries momentum across time. Poor decisions echo forward just as disciplined ones do. This awareness sharpens standards. Spending becomes purposeful, saving becomes protective, investing becomes intentional. Legacy thinking also introduces patience. Results are no longer expected immediately. Some benefits may not be fully realized within his own timeline. This reduces urgency and increases consistency. He is no longer chasing validation through consumption. He is building something that can outlast moods and trends. Another change occurs in how success is measured. Net worth alone is no longer sufficient. Stability, freedom, and the ability to support others without self-sacrifice matter more. Money begins to serve values instead of ego. This alignment creates deeper satisfaction than accumulation alone. Legacy does not mean excess, it means direction. It means ensuring that effort translates into something durable. When money is treated with this level of seriousness, it stops being fragile. It becomes anchored to purpose. A man who thinks this way moves differently. His decisions are steadier, his priorities clearer. He understands that what he builds financially is not just for now. It is a signal of who he is and what he chooses to leave behind. Once money begins to represent something larger about the present, discipline takes on a different meaning. It is no longer about restriction, it is about continuity. Playing the long game requires the ability to stay consistent when results are delayed and recognition is absent. Many men can act responsibly for short bursts. Few maintain discipline across years. Psychological seriousness about money is what makes that endurance possible. Long-game discipline is built through routine rather than intensity. A serious man does not rely on occasional financial overhauls or dramatic resets. He maintains steady habits that protect progress even during periods of distraction or stress. Contributions continue, reviews happen regularly, adjustments are made calmly. This consistency prevents decay. Another challenge of the long game is resisting comparison. Financial timelines differ, but social pressure compresses them into a single narrative. Watching others appear to advance faster can trigger impatience. A disciplined man understands that visible progress is not always real progress. He measures success against his plan, not someone else's highlight reel. This protects focus. Discipline in the long game also means knowing when not to act. Not every opportunity deserves response. Not every market shift requires adjustment. Overactivity creates noise. Strategic restraint preserves clarity. A man playing the long game favors simplicity because simplicity is easier to sustain. Complexity increases fragility. Long-term discipline is reinforced by identity. When a man sees himself as someone who plans, protects, and persists, behavior follows naturally. He no longer debates whether to act responsibly. He acts from who he is. This identity reduces friction and fatigue. Playing the long game with discipline does not guarantee immediate rewards. It guarantees position. Position creates optionality. Optionality creates freedom. Over time, this approach separates those who repeatedly restart from those who steadily advance. Financial success built this way feels less dramatic, but it is far more durable. When discipline is applied patiently and consistently, the long game eventually reveals its advantage.
Chapter 8. Freedom, Choice, and Control. Money expands choice before it expands lifestyle. When a man becomes serious about money, one of the first real rewards is not comfort, but choice. Before lifestyle changes, freedom appears quietly. He notices that he can walk away from situations that once trapped him. He can decline offers without panic. He can pause instead of rushing into decisions out of necessity. This expansion of choice is subtle, but it is powerful. Most men confuse financial freedom with visible upgrades. In reality, freedom begins internally. It begins when money no longer dictates every move. Choice restores dignity. When a man has options, his behavior changes. He negotiates differently. He listens more carefully. He does not tolerate disrespect or inefficiency simply to survive. This control over choice reduces emotional pressure. Decisions are made based on alignment rather than fear. Lifestyle expansion, when it eventually happens, becomes intentional rather than compensatory. Instead of using money to signal success or soothe insecurity, a serious man uses it to improve quality of life in ways that do not compromise stability. Comfort is earned, not forced. Another shift occurs in time ownership. Money seriousness often creates flexibility before abundance. Even small buffers can reduce urgency. Reduced urgency improves thinking. Better thinking improves outcomes. This cycle compounds. Choice also changes self-perception. A man who knows he has options carries himself differently. He is less reactive, less defensive, and less dependent on immediate validation. This presence is felt by others, even if they cannot explain it. Money did not make him different. Control did. Expanding choice does not require excess. It requires structure, patience, and restraint. When money is managed deliberately, freedom grows quietly. By the time lifestyle changes arrive, the man has already changed. He is no longer chasing comfort. He is choosing it. And that distinction determines whether money becomes a tool for stability or a source of new pressure.
As financial seriousness deepens, a man begins to realize that money's greatest function is not consumption, but control over time. Time is the one resource that cannot be replenished, and money, when managed correctly, protects it. This realization changes priorities. Long hours without direction feel costly. Commitments that drain energy without progress lose justification. A serious man becomes selective with how his time is spent because he understands that wasted time compounds just as powerfully as wasted money. Control over time reduces reactivity. When obligations are covered and buffers exist, urgency fades. You are no longer forced to trade hours for relief. You can plan, you can rest, you can think. This space improves judgment and prevents burnout. Many men chase income endlessly without realizing that poor structure steals the very freedom they seek. Control over time restores balance. Another shift occurs in boundaries. A man who values his time protects it. He schedules intentionally. He avoids unnecessary distractions. He limits commitments that do not align with long-term goals. This is not isolation, it is respect for focus. When time is treated as valuable, behavior follows. Productivity improves not through intensity, but through alignment. Control over time also changes ambition. Goals become more precise. Instead of vague desires, plans form around how life should feel and function. Money becomes a means to shape days, not just years. This perspective reduces regret because actions align with intention earlier rather than later. Time control also reinforces peace. When you are not constantly behind, rushed, or overwhelmed, presence improves. Relationships benefit, health stabilizes, creativity returns. This is why experienced men prioritize time freedom over visible wealth. Time allows recovery, reflection, and choice. When money supports time rather than consumes it, life expands without excess. In the end, the man who controls his time controls his direction, and direction determines everything that follows.
Chapter 9. Calm Strength and Financial Maturity. Money stops triggering strong emotional reactions. This is one of the clearest signs of financial maturity. Gains no longer create reckless excitement. Losses no longer create panic. A man who has become serious about money experiences events without being consumed by them. This emotional neutrality is not indifference, it is stability. It allows decisions to be made from logic rather than impulse. Emotional spending fades because money is no longer used to regulate mood. Stress, boredom, and frustration are handled directly instead of being numbed through consumption. This shift improves both finances and mental health. When money is removed from emotional coping, clarity increases. Decisions slow down. Outcomes improve. Financial maturity also changes how success is interpreted. A good month is acknowledged without complacency. A bad month is corrected without self-criticism. This balance preserves momentum. The man no longer ties his self-worth to fluctuations. He understands that money reflects behavior over time, not identity in the moment. This separation protects confidence. Another change occurs in communication. Financial conversations become straightforward rather than defensive. Boundaries are stated calmly. Expectations are clarified early. This reduces conflict and misunderstanding. Money stops being a sensitive topic because it is no longer chaotic. Structure creates confidence. Emotional neutrality also supports long-term thinking. Short-term volatility loses importance when direction is clear. This prevents overreaction and unnecessary course changes. A man who operates this way appears calm under pressure because he is. His system absorbs shock. His standards provide guidance. Financial maturity does not eliminate emotion. It prevents emotion from driving outcomes. When money becomes unemotional, it becomes manageable. When it becomes manageable, it becomes supportive.
This is the stage where money stops dominating attention and starts fading into the background, where it belongs. And when money no longer demands constant attention, a man's focus can finally return to building, leading, and living with intention.
When a man reaches financial maturity, confidence no longer needs to be displayed. There's no urgency to signal success, explain progress, or prove capability. This quiet confidence comes from alignment, not applause. It is the result of knowing that systems are working, even when outcomes are not yet visible. A man who is serious about money trusts process over perception. He understands that visibility is not value. Display often hides insecurity, while restraint reflects control. Confidence without display changes behavior subtly. Spending choices are made privately, not performatively. Progress is protected rather than advertised. This discretion preserves focus and reduces comparison. It also prevents external pressure from shaping decisions. When no audience is being managed, choices remain aligned with long-term goals. Another shift occurs in how success is defined. Instead of measuring worth through possessions or status, a mature man measures it through stability, flexibility, and peace of mind. He values the ability to respond calmly more than the ability to impress loudly. This internal standard is harder to shake and easier to maintain. Confidence without display also improves relationships. There is less competition and more presence. Conversations feel grounded. Boundaries are held without explanation. Respect grows naturally because behavior is consistent. Others sense that this man does not need validation, which often creates trust. This confidence also protects against regression. When progress is private, setbacks are easier to absorb. There is no image to defend. Adjustments can be made quietly and effectively. This resilience keeps momentum intact during difficult periods. Ultimately, confidence without display is a byproduct of financial seriousness done correctly. It signals that money is no longer a source of identity or anxiety. It is simply a tool being used well. When this stage is reached, a man moves through the world differently. He is not louder, he is steadier, and steadiness is what endures when trends fade and pressure rises.
Chapter 10: Responsibility, Leadership, and Example. Money changes how a man leads. When a man becomes serious about money, leadership begins to show in places that have nothing to do with authority or titles. It shows in reliability. It shows in planning. It shows in the absence of chaos. Financial seriousness forces a man to think beyond himself because money is never isolated. It affects family, partners, co-workers, and future generations. This awareness changes how he leads, even when no one labels him a leader. Leadership through money begins with predictability. Bills are handled, commitments are honored, emergencies are prepared for. This consistency creates trust. People feel safer around someone whose decisions are stable and whose behavior is not dictated by panic or impulse. That safety is a form of influence stronger than words. A man who manages money well does not need to lecture. His actions demonstrate discipline and foresight. Example becomes instruction. Children learn priorities from observation. Partners learn security from consistency. Colleagues learn standards from follow-through. Financial seriousness removes excuses that undermine leadership. There is no one else to blame when systems fail. Ownership sharpens judgment. A man who carries responsibility well becomes someone others can rely on. This reliability compounds into respect. Leadership also changes internally. A man begins to hold himself to higher standards because others are affected by his choices.
This is not pressure, it is maturity. He understands that careless decisions ripple outward. This awareness encourages restraint and long-term thinking. Money also changes how authority is exercised. Decisions are less emotional and more considered. Conflicts are handled calmly because urgency is reduced. Influence grows quietly when reactions are controlled. A man who leads this way does not dominate, he stabilizes. In uncertain environments, stability attracts trust. Financial seriousness produces that stability. It does not make a man louder or more forceful. It makes him dependable. And dependability is the foundation of leadership that lasts. At a certain level of financial seriousness, a man stops trying to influence others directly. He simply becomes the standard they adjust to. This shift happens quietly. It is not announced, it is observed. When a man's behavior is consistent, measured, and disciplined, people around him begin to recalibrate their expectations and actions. This influence does not come from instruction, it comes from contrast. Stability stands out in environments accustomed to volatility. Being the standard begins with self-regulation. A man who manages money well manages emotion, time, and obligation with the same discipline. He does not overreact to stress or opportunity. He does not chase validation through spending or status. This restraint signals maturity. Others notice that he moves without urgency and speaks without exaggeration. Over time, this presence carries weight. Standards also show up in boundaries. A serious man does not tolerate financial chaos in shared environments. He sets expectations calmly and enforces them consistently. This is not control, it is clarity. People either rise to the standard or remove themselves. Both outcomes preserve alignment. Another element is integrity. When words and actions match over long periods, credibility forms. Promises are not made casually. Commitments are honored. This reliability builds trust that does not depend on charisma. Trust changes group dynamics. Decisions move more smoothly. Conflict reduces. Direction becomes clearer. Being the standard also requires humility. A man does not use his position to dominate or shame. He understands that leadership through example works best when it is quiet. This humility prevents resentment and keeps influence clean. Over time, environments reorganize themselves around stable figures. People defer not out of fear, but out of confidence. This is the result of financial seriousness expressed consistently. When money is handled well, it sharpens character. When character is steady, influence follows naturally. A man who becomes the standard does not need to enforce authority. His presence sets expectations automatically. And in a world accustomed to reaction and inconsistency, that steadiness becomes rare, valuable, and quietly powerful.
Chapter 11. Independence and Inner Authority. Money reduces dependence before it creates power. One of the most profound changes that happens when a man gets serious about money is the reduction of dependence. Before money creates influence, leverage, or comfort, it creates independence. Independence from constant approval. Independence from unhealthy obligations. Independence from decisions made out of fear. This shift happens gradually, but once it takes hold, it changes how a man relates to the world. Dependence narrows options. When survival or stability depends on external forces, behavior becomes cautious, reactive, and sometimes dishonest. A man may tolerate disrespect, accept poor terms, or silence his judgment to maintain security.
Financial seriousness interrupts this pattern. As stability increases, pressure decreases. With less pressure, honesty becomes possible. Choices begin to reflect values rather than necessity. Independence also reshapes self-trust. When a man knows he can support himself, absorb shocks, and recover from setbacks, his internal authority strengthens. He stops outsourcing confidence to titles, relationships, or recognition. This authority is quiet but firm. It allows him to disagree without hostility and decline without guilt. Money does not make him arrogant, it removes desperation. Another shift occurs in decision-making. Dependent choices prioritize safety at any cost. Independent choices balance risk and alignment. A serious man can afford to wait, evaluate, and choose timing. This patience improves accuracy. Fewer decisions are made, but they are better ones. Independence also affects how advice is received. Without financial pressure, opinions can be evaluated rather than obeyed. Guidance is considered thoughtfully instead of followed blindly. This discernment protects against manipulation and herd thinking. Independence is not isolation, it is autonomy. It allows collaboration without submission and partnership without fear. When money reduces dependence, a man stands on his own foundation. From that position, power can be built responsibly. But even if power never arrives, independence alone changes life profoundly. It restores dignity, clarity, and choice. And choice is the beginning of real freedom.
As financial independence strengthens, something subtle but decisive occurs. A man stops looking outward for permission to trust his own judgment. Inner authority begins to replace external validation. This shift is not loud or confrontational, it is internal. Decisions no longer require constant reassurance from others. Approval loses its influence because survival is no longer at stake. When money is managed seriously, a man can afford to be honest with himself and with the world. Inner authority grows through repeated proof. Each responsible decision reinforces self-trust. Each boundary held strengthens confidence. Over time, this creates a stable internal reference point. A man no longer asks who agrees with him before acting. He asks whether his decision aligns with his standards and long-term direction. This reduces hesitation and regret. External opinions are still considered, but they no longer override judgment. This change alters behavior in meaningful ways. A man speaks more carefully because he is no longer performing. He listens without feeling threatened. He can accept criticism without collapsing or becoming defensive. Inner authority allows calm disagreement. It also allows silence. Not every opinion needs response. Not every challenge needs escalation. This restraint preserves energy and focus. Inner authority also reduces comparison. When validation is internal, the success or failure of others loses its power. Progress is measured against intention rather than appearance. This protects momentum. A man stops reacting to trends and starts following principle. Another benefit of inner authority is consistency. Decisions made from internal standards are easier to maintain. There is less backtracking, fewer emotional reversals, and more continuity. This stability compounds over time. Inner authority does not make a man inflexible, it makes him grounded. He can adapt without losing identity. He can change strategy without abandoning values. When money removes survival pressure, inner authority has room to form. Once it does, behavior becomes cleaner and direction steadier. A man who operates from inner authority does not need to be convinced. He moves deliberately, answers to himself, and carries a calm confidence that does not require explanation.
Chapter 12. Mastery and alignment. Money becomes a reflection of character. When a man reaches financial mastery, money stops feeling like a separate area of life. It becomes a mirror. His finances reflect how he thinks, plans, restrains himself, and follows through. Chaos fades because inconsistency fades. Order appears because standards are clear. This is not perfection, it is alignment. Money behaves differently when character is stable. A man who plans his days tends to plan his finances. A man who honors commitments tends to honor budgets. A man who manages emotion tends to manage spending. Over time, these traits reinforce each other. Financial order strengthens personal discipline. Personal discipline strengthens financial outcomes. This feedback loop is the core of mastery. At this stage, money no longer needs constant attention. Systems are in place. Habits are established. Reviews are routine rather than reactive. Because behavior is consistent, results stabilize. This frees mental energy for higher-level thinking. A man can focus on growth, contribution, and long-term positioning instead of constant correction. Alignment also changes how setbacks are experienced. When money reflects character, mistakes feel instructional rather than threatening. There is no identity crisis attached to fluctuation. Adjustments are made calmly because standards remain intact. This resilience is a hallmark of mastery. Another shift occurs in satisfaction. A man no longer seeks excitement through financial risk or consumption. Satisfaction comes from coherence. Life feels ordered. Decisions feel intentional. Progress feels earned. This reduces restlessness. Money is no longer used to fill internal gaps because those gaps have been addressed through discipline and clarity. Mastery also increases humility. A man understands that systems can always improve and conditions can always change. He remains attentive without being anxious, confident without being reckless. Money becomes a servant rather than a source of identity. When finances reflect character, they support rather than distract. They enable rather than pressure. This is the stage where money quietly affirms who a man has become, not through display, but through stability. And stability is the clearest sign that mastery has taken root.
The final shift happens when money no longer occupies the center of attention. This does not mean it is ignored or taken lightly. It means it is integrated. When a man reaches this stage, finances are handled as part of life, not as the axis around which everything turns. Money becomes background infrastructure rather than foreground concern. This is the clearest sign that seriousness has matured into mastery. At this point, decisions are no longer driven by financial anxiety or ambition alone. They are guided by values, time, and meaning. A man begins to ask different questions, not how much more can I make, but how should my life be structured? Not what will impress, but what will endure. Money supports these questions instead of dominating them. Focus shifts toward health, relationships, contribution, and legacy. Financial stability creates the space for this shift. When survival and security are handled, attention naturally moves upward. This is why many men who never master money remain trapped in cycles of stress and distraction. Their attention is consumed by maintenance. A man who has done the work is free to build beyond himself. Another change appears in emotional state. There is less urgency, less comparison, and less internal noise. Progress feels steady rather than frantic. The need to prove fades. Satisfaction increases, not because everything is perfect, but because direction is clear. Money no longer defines identity, it reflects it. When money stops being the focus, it starts functioning properly. It becomes a tool for choice, not a source of pressure. It allows flexibility without indulgence and ambition without chaos. This is not an ending, it is a position.
From here, a man can grow, contribute, and adapt without losing balance. He has learned what money is for and what it is not. That understanding is rare, and once it is internalized, money loses its power to distract and gains its true role. It supports a life lived deliberately rather than one spent chasing relief.
Outro. What changes forever? When a man truly gets serious about money, the change is permanent. Not because circumstances never fluctuate, but because his relationship with reality has shifted. He no longer waits for pressure to force discipline. He chooses structure before chaos appears. This decision alters how he thinks, moves, and carries responsibility. Money stops being a source of fear or fantasy. It becomes a mirror of alignment. The man you have followed through this journey is not defined by income level, net worth, or visible success. He is defined by clarity. He understands that stability precedes expansion, that discipline outlasts motivation, and that patience quietly outperforms urgency. These principles do not expire, they compound. Over time, the man who applies them becomes difficult to destabilize. Stress loses leverage, impulses lose authority, external noise fades. What remains is direction. That direction is what protects progress when conditions change. Seriousness about money does not make life smaller, it makes it calmer. It creates room to think, to choose, and to act without desperation. It restores dignity by removing the need to compromise values for relief. It builds inner authority that does not require explanation or display. This is why the most powerful effects of financial seriousness are internal. The posture changes before the lifestyle does. The confidence arrives before the recognition. The peace settles in before the rewards become visible. From this position, growth is no longer fragile. Setbacks are handled without collapse. Opportunities are evaluated without panic. The man moves forward deliberately, knowing that progress is not accidental. It is built. This is not about perfection or control over every outcome. It is about consistency in how decisions are made when it matters. If there is one truth to carry forward, it is this: money rewards clarity more than intensity. When your standards are clear and your actions aligned, money stops being a problem to solve and becomes a system that supports the life you are building. What happens when a man gets serious about money is simple and profound. He stops fighting his future and starts shaping it.